Hey, what's going on, everybody? I'd like to thank you all for tuning in to the show. Got a couple of my microphone killers with me, Darnell and Tyler. I'm Trey, and we're coming your way with the 31st edition of the Don't Kill the Messengers podcast. Going to do things a little bit differently this week. We usually talk about just sports news and things that's going on in the sports world, but with the ESPYs and everything like that, I just decided let's start our own DKM awards. So, about to get that started right now. Starting off.
Oh, mine, I guess, probably was the obvious choice here. Mine was the chase for 73. It just seemed like it was a story that carried throughout the whole NBA season once Golden State kind of caught fire. And it had a lot of elements to it. You know, first half of the year, they had a backup coach basically going that put them on track. Then Steve Kerr came back for them. They accomplished it on the last game of the season, 173, and then you had the drama of taking it to the next level and trying to win the championship, which didn't happen. So, you know, it was kind of backwards. You had the thrill of victory and then the agony of defeat after, but it was just an interesting story the whole way, especially with how the playoffs went in the Western Conference.
All right, that's a good one. What about you, Ty?
Yeah, I guess I'm taking the spoiler to that story. I'm going with just the Cleveland Cavaliers winning a championship, bringing the championship or a championship to Cleveland for the first time in 50 plus years. You know, the 30 for 30 came out on Cleveland.
Both you guys there for sure. Basically the same as you guys. First with the 73. Chicago Bulls 72-10 record. I thought that was a record that was just not going to be touched. For you to go into a season playing with a bunch of professionals that can just flat out ball against you any night, it was just hard for me to believe that a team could go out there and just break that record. But Golden State, they got the record, still fell short in the Western Conference Finals. So that was just huge right there. That was a huge story. And then with LeBron James going up in there, had a team that was just short. Many people thought that, well, they couldn't do nothing against this 73-9 win team. And then for him to go out there and just perform like he did, which is absolutely exceptional. God did basically everything for the team on the court. That was just a performance. And then just with the Warriors getting a record and still just falling up short in the NBA finals was just huge. So for both of those, for sure, definitely, I agree with you guys. Now, anything else to add to that?
No, definitely, you know, I'll touch on the other one real quick just because it was phenomenal with Golden State hitting 73. Just like you said, Trey, you know, something you thought may not ever be touched. And, you know, now we're going to live in the era of 73 won't be touched, and maybe one day it will, you know. So definitely phenomenal. That team did something remarkable, something that nobody's ever seen before. You know, they touch new territory, and that is definitely something they should be proud of. Despite not winning the championship would have solidified that as the greatest team of all time. But 73 wins in a regular season is not something to frown on just because they lost the championship. You know, I think people who truly understand what that regular season was will still hold that team in high respect.
Yeah. Just for my runner-up real quick, you guys know I'm a fan of nonsense, too. So that whole Derek Fisher, Matt Barnes situation, too, man. Those two going at it, too, man. Two of my former Lakers that I like, man, just going at it, too. That was one that had me just cracking up before the NBA season even started. So that's my runner-up for sure.
Okay.
Now, we got to show love to my man, Ty. He's a golfer. So we're going to decide, Ty, who is your golfer of the year?
You know, Darnell, if you want to start this one and I'll just kind of close it out.
Oh, boy.
I mean, just, if all you want to do is say the names, that's cool, because I got some stuff to back up, so.
All right, well, the two names that floated for me, I mean, it's just from my casual watching I had to go with Jordan Spieth and Dustin Johnson. They seem to always be at or near the top of the leaderboard all year, and especially in the major tournaments. So I couldn't give it anywhere but to one of those two.
Mm-hmm. Trey, do you have names for this one, or are you gonna pass?
I'm out, man.
All right, that's cool.
Seeing as he doesn't know who those two are even.
Yeah, so all right. I definitely agree with Dustin Johnson. Dustin Johnson is actually one of the more consistent players on tour, and not a lot of people I think realize that. He's played 18 events in 2016 and has finished in the top 10 and 12 of them. Winning twice, his biggest win being his first major at the U.S. Open. So that was his big kind of breakthrough moment. So he definitely takes my golfer of the year so far. Just a model of consistency, good player. He's had some trouble, but I don't know if you guys know, but he actually had kind of like a drug accident that kind of took him out for a while. But that's not here or there. But winning the U.S. Open was big for him. My second option is actually Jason Day. He's second in top 10 finishes this year at 9. But Jason Day finished, I believe he finished in the top 5 in all the majors this year. He's the number 1 golfer in the world. He's the number 1 in their FedEx Cup, which is their end of the year playoffs. He's number 1 seed for that right now. He's won 3 times this year, so he's my number 2. The only reason I have Dustin Johnson over him is Dustin Johnson won a major this year. So Jordan Spieth, like you mentioned him, also a very viable option. He's always in contention, it seems, almost every week. He's a great model of just maturity and a great model of, he's just a good role model for young people in the sport. And with him, Dustin Johnson, Jason Day, all 3 of those guys, golf's in good hands for the future. So good picks from you, Darnell, despite being the casualist. Good picks. But Dustin Johnson, definitely agree. He's my golfer.
Alrighty. That's it, Ty, for your anything else to add, guys?
I think he cleaned me up.
All right. He cleaned me up for sure. So good job, Ty. Up next, man, we had a lot of people, a lot of great talent that decided to hang up the cleats or just shoes up this year. From Marshawn Lynch to Calvin Johnson, Peyton Manning, Charles Woodson, Kobe Bryant, Tim Duncan. This was just a heck of a year to see some talent, especially for me because these were guys that pretty much got me into liking this particular sport, either NBA or NFL, like guys like Peyton Manning. And like I literally grew up watching these guys, and they gave me the love for the sports that I have now. So this was just big for me. But for this award, who was the best athlete to retire this year to you guys?
No, I'll take the lead on this one. I'm actually going with Peyton Manning. Had numerous years at the Colts, killed it there, won a Super Bowl there. I was really happy that he ended up winning a Super Bowl with the Colts, only because, for a long time, a lot of people were saying, is he going to be one of the best to not win one? So when he won one with the Colts, that really kind of made me happy, knowing, one of the greatest, to play the position finally has the Super Bowl. That talk can go to rest, and then ending with the Super Bowl win with the Broncos was really nice. But just, some quick stats for him. He has over 71,000 career passing yards, over 500 touchdowns. It's just good stuff. He was, despite limping to the finish line, he had a really solid career. He was clean on the field, clean off the field. And I think one thing that was really impressive for me in his career is how he came back from the neck injury and the surgery. I thought, one hit could have, potentially ended his career or his life, and he stayed healthy after the injury. Despite this last season, he actually got hurt for a little bit there, but he's just a field general, a great game manager. It'll be sad to see him go, but as all the greats do, they enter and they leave. So he was fun to watch for the years he was in the league.
Yeah, Peyton was my runner-up. Just to follow you up there, I mean, that was also up there when I thought about favorite news story. I mean, it was a roller coaster last year for Peyton, as getting benched for a while, but coming back in time for the playoffs, getting the start and roll back, and letting the defense carry him to get that title so he can ride off into the sunset with a ring. I thought it was an awesome story, especially now after the little dark cloud that was looking like it might be over his head as far as performance enhancing drugs and stuff. He got cleared of all of that, so that's good to see somebody that seemed to be a model citizen on the field exit the way he should. But my winner for this topic was Tim Duncan.
Just a good one.
Like basically pretty much the mirror image of a Peyton Manning on the basketball side of things, quietly just amassing stats to be, in my opinion, the best power forward of all time. Most people's opinion, I would hope. And then just the numbers for the team, 70 to 71% win percentage while he was there. That's a ridiculous number to hear. Best percentage of any professional team with their star for their time with the team, and 5 titles, multiple MVPs. I don't think there could be a better person to pick.
Yeah, I agree with Darnell. I actually had Tim Duncan number 1. I had Kobe as number 2, and then Peyton as number 3. The reason why I say Tim Duncan, especially over with Kobe, is I would have preferred to have Tim Duncan's career over Kobe's. One thing about Tim Duncan is that compared to Kobe, one, he's never really had any trouble or anything off the field. My man Kobe, got mad love and respect for the guy, but that whole Colorado situation, that was just absolutely huge. Just a huge turning point in his career. And plus, Tim Duncan never really had any major injuries in his career as well. So he was always a guy that you could count on to go out there and play and just always just put up fantastic numbers. I think he finished his career with, let me see real quick, I believe 19 points, 2.2 blocks, 10.8 boards a game. Guy was just absolutely phenomenal. One of the greatest to ever play the game. So that's just the reason why I would pick Tim Duncan over Kobe. His consistency. He always never had any issues off the court. Was just a quiet guy that was always just focused and just
pretty big Lions fan through many dark years. He seemed to be one of the only bright spots throughout all of them. So it's more of a personal pick than anything about having titles or anything like that. I mean, he had a really good career. Regular season passing yard holder. Past Jerry Rice for that. I'll never forget that moment. It was, nationally televised Monday Night Football. And it was a big stage for him to break the record, but, just seemed to always kind of be a bright spot on a dark team. So he was my runner-up.
Yeah.
It's a good pick still.
Yeah, man, like I said, this was a lot of talent that retired this year, so
yeah,
any of them were good picks to be honest.
Just curious, did you guys see that picture where it was the NFL all-retirement team, and it was everybody that retired this year?
Yeah, for sure. Up next, I know you guys were telling me you guys were struggling with picking a choice for this, but rivalry of the year. What did you guys have?
Well, I had a kind of a tie situation on this one.
Okay, split it up.
Yeah, one goes to the fighting world. This one kind of blew up quickly, but Conor McGregor and Nathan Diaz.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, it was a weird way that this fight came to be. With they were trying to find a fighter to replace him. Then they throw in Nate Diaz. They clicked immediately with talking a lot of trash to each other, built a lot of animosity towards each other in a short amount of time, and got people really amped up to see the fight. The fight delivered. Diaz coming off of basically, 11 days notice, and had a slow first round, but then a second round to remember and scored the upset. So, just for one fight, and now the aftermath coming up to their second fight coming up, it seemed to build. So I gave that one a big nod, and the other one, I'm not so sure how good it'll be next season, but Oklahoma City and Golden State. Golden State kind of playoffs, went to a 7-game series. Oklahoma City choking it away. Now Golden State steals Oklahoma City's best player. So, I mean, that one was a interesting rivalry to me as well.
Yeah, I don't know if the game results will show rivalry, but I can tell you the hype and the hate show rivalry for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, for mine, I'm almost surprised you didn't pick this one, Darnell, but I know you're going to mention this game later on, but I'm actually going Michigan State, as well as Michigan Ohio State. And the only reason I'm picking these,
because you're a Michigan fan,
hate him with the stuff he says, the stuff he does. I mean, I know he annoys people. And every once in a while, it's fun to be the team that nobody likes and be good. Like I think that's fun sometimes. I'm not always into that, but I think just he's building a really good program. Michigan State showed over the last 8 years or so, they've been a really solid program. They might have a down year, but they'll be back. And I think Michigan starting to be on the rise again is good for the Big Ten. It's good for college football in general. And I'm actually excited for Michigan to be competitive again with Michigan State, with Ohio State, hopefully this year. They got blown out a little last year, but I can talk about that later. But I can just only imagine that Harbaugh's going to get those guys ready after being a part of that rivalry for the first time in a long time. The coaches more than it is among the teams. And, and that's just something that really excites me about college football this season.
Yeah. And it's 3 coaches that all have egos and have certain things about, like you said, Harbaugh where he's feeling. Urban Meyer, I mean, he's just him. He has the hardware behind him, and he's a bit of a little smart ass at times, and and D'Antonio's the crotchety old man that demands you show him respect. So
that's a spot on analysis too.
Yeah.
But so I mean, and that's why I think I picked those 2, just because I think among those 3 teams in the Big Ten East, I really think those really 3 games when you get Michigan versus Michigan State, Michigan, Ohio State, and then Michigan State, Ohio State, all 3 of those games, could play pivotal roles year in and year out and be must-watch TV.
Mm-hmm. For me, I went with Tyler, not the Michigan-Ohio State rivalry, but the Michigan State rivalry. We're all from Michigan. These are 2 teams I don't really care about. Just one thing, I'm a troll.
Way to lead in there.
Yeah, I'm a troll. So like, what a lot of people don't know is, you know by now for sure is that Darnell is the ultimate Michigan State fan. Whenever there's a game between Michigan State and it's a close one, I think they're going to lose. I just troll the guy with text message after text message. So the craziest thing about me was like right at that ending, when I thought they sealed the deal to make that punt, I was sending them this long text message. Oh man, Michigan State sucks. That sorry team. Blah blah blah. And then boom, messed
Then
up.
I had to delete it.
Yeah. I actually sent it to you, and then like as soon as I sent it, man, the messed up with the punt dude gets a touchdown, and I swear, dude, I literally like thought my heartbeat just stopped.
I
for
thought
like
I
a
was
minute,
having a
man.
heart
I was
attack.
just at the TV, just like, wow.
There were probably more heart attacks in that moment alone in the state of Michigan than ever before.
Yeah. So you just want to talk about an instant classic.
Absolutely.
That game was just absolutely amazing.
Okay,
Michigan, they were favored to win, but Michigan State, they hung in there, they did their thing, and they just pulled it off, man. That's why every down you got to take it seriously, man. So Michigan State got much respect from me off that win, even though I do believe it was kind of luck, but they got the win, so that's all that matters, especially with rivalries. So anything can happen. So
let me just steal hosting duties for a second now, because that leads us to favorite upset, and that was my favorite upset for a lot of the reasons that Trey just said right there. It was a really good game. The two teams were evenly matched. I mean, a lot of us that wear green were a little pissed off at first anyway, because Michigan was favored by 7.
Yeah,
and it was
and that was something I never understood. To be fair.
Yeah. So that rubbed a lot of people the wrong way there, and it was a really good game. They were firing back and forth. It was a definite heavyweight fight. U of M's defense, they showed they were legit. It was one of those games where Michigan's offense started turning the corner. State's defense, their front seven, they were what they showed. Everybody played up to what their potential was for that game, and then of course comes down to the last second. Trey, you weren't the only one sending me texts at the time trying to get after me, because everybody.
Did you have your phone on silent or what? What were you doing?
I was holding it. I saw everything. I was just trying to compose myself and hold that little bit of hope that we do something. I mean, I'm watching it over at my brother-in-law's house. His wife also graduated from state, so we're just kind of huddled, standing 5 feet 5 inches from the TV, just like head down, just like we got to do something here. We got to do something here, and fumbled snap, pitches it right into the hands of MSU defender. We have a wall down the sideline, and the most amazing thing in my life. We all
even more amazing than the birth of your children.
I love it, but I mean that was up there with it. I mean, I think probably the only time I was more excited for a victory was that tackle at the end of the Rose Bowl. Settle that game. But yeah, I mean, just amazing game, amazing ending. I think it was, and as far as that rivalry goes, that was the most shocking turn of events ever.
Okay, for upset, I'll go. I had the Count, Michael Bisping with his win over Luke Rockhold. The reason why Michael Bisping, he was a pretty good fighter, but he took the fight on short notice. Nobody had him winning against the second time against Luke Rockhold, and went up into the ring. They say everybody has a puncher chance. He took his chance with the punch and got out there and just hit him, and then he fell right down. Again, it's probably the biggest upset I would probably say for in the UFC this year that I can think of. Just for him just taking that fight on short notice and then just getting that championship, that was just big for him.
Yeah, that was probably the distant second to my pick.
Yeah.
But it was in the realm of the UFC, it was a pretty big upset. I mean, Luke Rockhold was looking like he might be a dominant champion. He had pretty much took the former champion to the woodshed and showed it might just be his division for a while, and Bisping steps in, somebody he had already beaten, and like Trey said, most people have a puncher's chance. Most people didn't even give that to Bisping because he's not known for knocking people out.
Yeah.
But you hit somebody on the button, they go down, and that's the end of the story. We had a new middleweight champ.
Exactly. Now, what about you, Ty?
Yeah, I actually went with, something we were talking about a little bit earlier. I went with the Cavs over the Warriors. When you win 73 games in a row, a lot of people, or not in a row, but 73 games in the regular season, you only lose single-digit games, never lose more than, 2 in a row in the regular season? Did they even lose twice in a row in the regular season? I don't know, but, a lot of people start handing you the trophy, and a lot of people were just going ahead and giving it to Golden State before the playoffs even started. And then they fall down 3-1 to Oklahoma City, and a lot of people kind of started counting them out, and they fought back in a heck of a Western Conference Finals, like Darnell alluded to a minute ago, and then they get up 3-1 in the finals, and it's all over. Cleveland doesn't stand a chance, and LeBron leads them back from 3-1, something no team's ever done in the finals.
Yeah.
That in itself is incredible. To beat the team that was being handed the trophy is incredible. A lot of people were saying Steph Curry's taken LeBron over as the best player in the NBA, and he kind of shut that up pretty quick. I think that finals series was beyond thrilling, beyond enticing. It really. I thought it was over at 3-1. I'll admit that. I thought they might be able to make it 3-2 and kind of keep it interesting, and then Golden State would win it. But they fought all the way back. This also might be my favorite upset because I called it in 7, but I'm not going to toot my own horn over it. But I just think that was a finals to remember. Then it gave Cleveland their first championship in 50 plus years, and then it just escalated the whole conversation again about now you have Golden State, the greatest regular season team of all time, and the Bulls. Now it's just, Golden State's number 2, but you have to give them the regular season, and it just makes that whole conversation a mess. But definitely LeBron just showing the fighter he is and how bad he actually wants to win. Kyrie Irving showing up. It was, to me, that was just a great, great series, and I loved the upset there.
Nothing wrong with that. You guys have anything to add about anybody's choice or anything?
No, some good picks all around, though.
Yeah. Now, up next, we're going to talk about our favorite game. I'll just go get mine out the way with. I had Oklahoma and Kansas, the Kansas Jayhawks. Nothing like an overtime game in basketball, but these two went out 3 times. Just an absolutely remarkable game. This was just all about will and just truly who wanted it. Both of these teams, a lot of people had them favorited to possibly go on and win a national championship. Had great talent. Buddy Hield had 46 points, 7 assists, and 8 rebounds, and that just truly, just games like this, and just with the whole energy of the crowd and everything like that in college basketball, that just making me shift between hopping over to NCAA basketball over to NBA. You don't really see games like that in the NBA that often, with just how hype and everything it is. So these young guys just went out there and just balled out.
Yeah, I'll go next because mine's the same sport actually. But real quick, I'll touch on yours, Trey. That game was really phenomenal. Buddy Hield. That was kind of a huge, not necessarily a coming out party, but it was definitely the game where you knew he was for real.
Yeah.
And the one thing, the Kansas fans that were kind of behind the scores table and the benches actually gave Buddy Hield a standing ovation because Coach Bill Self for Kansas, kind of gave him just kind of a very, they watched, possibly the best performance of the year. And that was, I think that added to it all because the people realized what they watched. Buddy Hield just carried them from beginning to end. And that was a really good game. So that's a really good pick from you, Trey.
Yeah.
My pick's actually going to be the NCAA finals for college basketball.
Okay.
I think that game was just what we won. It's bucket for bucket toward the end, and the last two possessions I think I'll never forget. North Carolina comes down, Marcus Page has this double clutch 3-pointer that was just unreal. It was deep too, it wasn't like it was right on the line. Then that goes in and a lot of people are thinking, all right, and North Carolina's got all the momentum. And then there's about 10 or so seconds left, and Villanova just goes down the floor and drains a 3 at the buzzer, and you go nuts again on highlight reels for a while because a buzzer beater to win the national championship, something you remember.
Yeah, both good picks by you guys. Both great games that, I vividly remember watching and being on the edge of my seat for all the reasons mentioned. Kansas, Oklahoma was, everybody was starting to get a feeling for who Buddy Hield was, but that was definitely the coming out party for a game that crazy, and he just was unreal in it. So, amazing game there. And then national championship game was everything you could ask for. Close game. They were throwing shots back and forth, and then, that final sequence was just amazing to have two big shots like that hit back to back and be the deciding points for the game. Like, you can't ask for more.
Mm-hmm.
But for my game, I went with the college football national championship game between Alabama and Clemson.
Really good game.
Yeah, which, performances from pretty much anybody you could think of. Deshaun Watson came to play, threw for over 400 yards, 4 touchdowns. Derrick Henry, 3 touchdowns, 158 yards.
Don't forget OJ.
I'm not. And of course, you had the out of nowhere performance from OJ Howard, 208 yards off of 5 receptions. Like, that was the one
250 plus yard touchdowns.
Yeah. That was the bad thing about Clemson. Just, I guess they didn't think to cover that guy. But it was still just back and forth action. You never knew who was going to win, even down to the end. The last touchdown came with 12 seconds left from Clemson, which put the game within 5 points. So you still had to watch to see if just something crazy was going to happen, like an onside kick, and give them another shot. Because that last play was a 25-yard touchdown. So just an amazing game to end the game.
Yeah. Can't complain about any of them.
Definitely. Now, up next, what we're about to go to is our most memorable moments. What did you guys come up with?
So I didn't want to let my fandom go and take over too much of our choices for this. So for memorable moment, I didn't want to ponder more on the upset. So I went with LeBron James blocking Game 7 at the end of the game against Golden State. It just seemed like it was an amazing feat. Showed like how much he wanted this ring, and he knew how close he was to getting it. I know a lot of credit should still go to Kyrie Irving for making the shot to put him ahead, but I think we wouldn't even be thinking about it if LBJ didn't make that block. And he got up for it. It looked like he was about to grab the top of the backboard to get the ball. So I'll never forget that.
Yeah, for sure. I agree there. One of my memorable moment actually touches on my favorite game, which was the buzzer beater at the end of the NCAA basketball championship. That moment was just awesome. I just remember saying after that game that, just how popular is that guy going to be in Villanova history because of that shot alone. Like 1 second cemented that kid in Villanova history. And I just thought that was totally cool because I kind of put myself in his shoes, just like, how cool would it be to hit a buzzer beater for a national championship? Like, you are like the man forever on that campus. Like, he can do whatever he wants. So to me, that was my favorite moment. But my runner up was the block by LeBron for sure. Like you said, he jumped out of the gym for that. It was just intensity, passion. Everything was in that block. The city of Cleveland was in that block. And then the 3-pointer by Kyrie Irving was my honorable mention, or my third place pick, I guess. Only because I think that shot just had so much irony in it, that the winning shot that beats Golden State's a 3-pointer. I just loved that. I don't know, just Golden State pouring in 3-pointers, loses on a 3-pointer. That just kind of made me laugh a little bit. So.
It was definitely a way for them to go down.
Yeah.
All right, for me, what I chose to pick was my man Kobe Bryant with his last game of the season. The reason why I picked this was just I actually got a chance to see the true Black Mamba in like the last 4 seasons of his career once. You know, with all the injuries that he's had 2 years where he's just been injured and had to basically miss key majority of the season for the Lakers. And when that game 6, well, not game 6, what I'm talking about, his last game against Utah, you know, I would have loved for it to be in the finals and playing for a championship, but didn't have the players to do that. They were down, and I just saw a guy that wanted to just kill and just take over the game. There were plenty of shots where I saw him shoot this year where it was just like, okay, this guy just doesn't have the legs for it anymore or anything like that. But I just saw a guy that was just went out there. He had that killer instinct and was just going to come win his game no matter what. And that was what I saw with him dropping that 60 points on Utah to get that win. So I just think that was a good little ender for him to let people see the true, real Kobe Bryant. With all the injuries and stuff that he's been facing the last years of his career. So that was just what I picked. I just think that was just good for the people to see.
Yeah, and I'm not like trying to knock your pick and saying this or anything, but like it was very Kobe-esque for him to take north of 60 shots. Like that was just very Kobe.
Yeah.
You know, but the thing is, the team wasn't doing anything anyway. The game meant nothing. He could have shot 100 times for all I cared, and it would have been awesome just because it was Kobe. Let him shoot the ball. It was one of the best things he did.
Yep.
Oh yeah, it was definitely, that game was let Kobe go out like Kobe. So, and he did. So,
for sure. Now up next, we're about to go into Fight of the Year. Darnell, what did you have?
For Fight of the Year, I went with, I have a male fight and a female fight. I went with Dominic Cruz versus TJ Dillashaw for the males. It was a fight of two fighters that fight exactly the same, just a lot of energy, a lot of movement, a lot of just slick boxing, a little bit of wrestling. It was a fight you show somebody that if you just want to show like the purity and like almost like ballet of MMA. That was to win at it. It was a razor thin fight. Dominic Cruz came back off of a year layoff and won the title back. So, I mean, it had some weight to it as well.
Yeah.
Amazing fight. On the female side, I went with Holly Holm versus Miesha Tate. It was a back and forth fight. It looked like Miesha was almost able to win it early in the fight where she was able to get in position to put on a rear naked choke, but couldn't think then, doesn't let go that time, takes the title. Amazing fight as well.
Yeah, definitely. Those two can definitely not go wrong with either of those. I went with JJ. I'm going to try to say her name, man. Let me know if I get it right. Joanna Jędrzejczyk. Jędrzejczyk.
Close enough.
Jędrzejczyk.
Okay, and Claudia Gadelia.
Yes.
All right. I got the second one right. But the match, just using those punches to get the win over her for the end of the fight. So this was just two girls with some animosity. They had a great first fight, and then the second fight just saw Claudia that was just determined to win, but her heart just gave up on her. AJ ended up getting the win over. But Darnell for sure with the whole Holly Holm Miesha Tate fight and Dominic Cruz and TJ Dillashaw. Those were definitely great fights as well. So can't go wrong with that. Now I know, Ty, you haven't seen that many fights, but is there one in particular that you've seen that you really enjoyed?
Yeah, I actually went with Miesha Tate and Holly Holm as well. Holly Holm was coming off of beating Ronda Rousey.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that brought a lot of pressure on her to perform. For me, the reason I pick it as the best, my favorite fight of the year is because of the hype that came with it. Holly Holm was the one that beat Ronda Rousey. Like, can she back it up? And she didn't. And then now the women's division's kind of been open ever since. They can't have one person really hold on to the belt. Jacek has held on to it. She defended it this last time, right?
Wait, she's in the lower weight class, so.
Oh, okay, never mind.
She's secure. Yeah.
Right,
yeah. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Anyway. But I mean, it seems like that division's now a little more open than it's been because Ronda Rousey's not fighting right now, and I think that just kind of makes it a little more fun to watch, competitive still. Granted, what Ronda Rousey was doing was just remarkable, but it's kind of fun to see new names pop up as champion, and I think it would have been nice to see Holm hold it once. But the fact that she didn't was still okay too. It was still a pretty good fight.
Yeah. Nothing wrong with
undefeated, still undefeated. She's been one of the better champions the UFC has right now. With the men, it was close, but I just had to go with who hasn't lost. So I went with Mighty Mouse.
Right.
So that's my fighter of the year. He's still just king of his division. I wish we would have been able to see him fight this past Saturday, so I could say 3 defenses in a year.
Yeah.
But he had to pull out due to an injury. My runner-up for the males would have been Robbie Lawler. He's probably been the most exciting fighter this year.
Yeah, for sure. He's been getting us some great fights, man.
Yeah, but he lost in exciting fashion this past Saturday. Catching the KO loss to the new champion.
Arguably the greatest fighter in the history of the UFC. He was able to beat him, so he had a chance to add that to his resume and beat arguably the greatest fighter of all time and have that on his resume. And then for him to come into the fight again with short notice, I think just a few weeks notice, not really known to have just crazy knockout power and just knock out a beast in Luke Rockhold that many people thought was just going to take over that division. That was just absolutely remarkable on his part. But understand, Mighty Mouse is probably pound for pound the best fighter in the UFC and MMA right now, just in general. So much credit has to go out to him, and what JJ has been able to do for the females in MMA is just absolutely remarkable. She's just constantly just going out there, just looking good, just beating people up. So all 3 of them definitely deserve their name mentioned with this award for sure. Now, Todd, did you have one for this?
No, not this one. Only because I don't think I know enough about their careers. But to be fair, to a guy from an up division, right?
Yeah.
So you can take that however you want. But Conor McGregor's still fighting really well. Would probably win almost just about any fight in his own division. You could get some competition, but he would fare very well in his own division. So, you could have mentioned him. He's probably one of the bigger names you left off, but that's just about all I got. So,
nothing wrong with that, man. Up next, we have Female Athlete of the Year. Who do you guys have for that?
I went with Serena Williams.
Mm-hmm.
Same here.
Yeah, she is for her age, based on how people peak really early in the sport of tennis, especially on the female side. It's been kind of amazing for the run she's had and is still winning majors. That was about all I had to pick her.
Yeah. Same here. Like I said, for her age and just to continue just go out there and just dominate like she has is just absolutely amazing. Another person who I had was JJ for the UFC. She's another great athlete. She's been doing her thing and fighting. Just with Serena Williams, she's more of a household name than JJ. So a lot of people know who she is for sure. But JJ, Joanna, she's definitely been doing her thing in the UFC. She's just been winning over great talent in her division. So I had her for my runner.
I went with Breanna Stewart, actually. I decided to side with her. Then that would make Serena Williams my second. Serena Williams is still just doing incredible things in tennis. At her age, when a lot of people's knees and ankles give out, she's fighting through a lot of injury late in her career and still winning. So it shows she's still, the upper echelon in the sport, and that's just awesome. But I went with Breanna Stewart. Dominated the college basketball scene for 4 straight years, 4 national championships. UConn's just head and shoulders above everybody else there. But, she's been named, player of the year. She's won ESPYs. She's won ESPN awards, Gatorade awards. She's won just about any award you can get in the women's game collegiately. She's now working on the professional awards, but she'll be in the Olympics this year, so she may be able to bring home a gold medal, which would be just another award that she'll be able to add to her already very long list. So very impressive women's basketball player. It'll be interesting to see how many more awards she can take home with her.
Yeah. Anything else to add, guys? Any other runner-ups you think should be deserved, or anything you think that we basically got it?
I think we ran the gauntlet on that one.
Alrighty. Up next, we have the male athlete of the year. I'll just go ahead with this one to start it up. I had 2 people who I had was one, LeBron James. He's my champ for this award. And 2, I had Christian McCaffrey. These are 2 guys. They basically carried the load and did everything for their team. Christian McCaffrey was just absolutely ridiculous with Stanford. I believe he should have won the Heisman just with everything he was doing for that team. LeBron James, he was doing everything with Cleveland, went into the finals, led both teams in every category you can think of in there. And this is the first time this has ever happened. So I decided to choose LeBron over Christian McCaffrey because he actually won a championship out of the 2. So these are, like I said, 2 great, phenomenal athletes that basically carried the load for their team, basically did everything that you could possibly ask them to do. Just gave it with LeBron. He upset a 73-9 team, the greatest regular season in the history of the NBA. He was able to do that with just playing absolutely remarkable, and his just will was just absolutely unmatched. So I went with LeBron.
Yeah, I went with LeBron as well. He just, based off his playoff performance, I don't think how I could choose anybody else. Based on that finals, he secured himself as a top 5 all-time player in my book. I think I said that the day after the show we did after the finals were over.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything else he could have done. So if Cleveland wouldn't have won this year, it wasn't happening with this team because he pulled off a Herculean effort doing pretty much everything he could. Kyrie was a nice second man for him, shot out of his mind a lot of the time, but LeBron was doing literally everything possible on a court.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I'll just go ahead and reiterate it. LeBron James, I think, just deserves it. Yeah, like Darnell said, he couldn't really do much more. I mean, he was everything from the floor general to the emotional leader of that team. carried them in the finals. Kyrie, great supporting role. He was kind of the missing piece that LeBron's never had. So definitely LeBron James winning the finals MVP, bringing it home to Cleveland. Yeah, he deserved it.
Yeah. All right, guys. Anybody else you like to have for a runner-up or anything?
I'll go ahead and throw Steph Curry in there as a runner-up for me, only because what he was doing all season long was phenomenal. We've never seen anybody shoot like this.
Yeah.
Be almost as automatic, as deep. He has endless range. I mean, a few years ago when Jimmer Fredette was lighting up the college scene, we thought he had unreal range. Curry's beyond where he was shooting from. So, I think just based off of the fact that we've not seen a shooting performance like that ever, I think that's deserving of a solid runner-up here, because if Golden State would have won the finals, he would probably be the player of the year. Yeah, so he would have been player of the year and male athlete of the year. So, I think he was right there with LeBron. LeBron won the title.
Yeah. What did you guys think of my Christian McCaffrey runner-up?
It was an interesting pick.
Yeah.
Good player. Very good player. I think I was pulling for him to win the Heisman, even though I had an idea that he was not going to win it. I just think he was Stanford football this year. He did a lot for them. He was throwing the ball, catching the ball, running the ball.
Yeah.
He was number one
and
two on offense.
Yeah.
So I mean, he was definitely everything Stanford needed him to be.
Yeah.
All the way to the Rose Bowl.
Yeah, had an amazing year. Pretty much the only thing he didn't do was throw a touchdown to himself. So,
Yep.
For sure. You have anything to add, Darnell?
No.
Anybody else? Okay, that's good.
Just LeBron.
Yeah. All right, for team of the year, who did you guys pick? I'll start with this one too. I have Villanova. This was a team that has success. They always go to the tournament and do pretty good, but I don't think a lot of people had them winning it all this year with just the talent such as a UNC, a Oklahoma, and so forth. Had a chance to go into the tournament, and they were just dominating teams. I mean, these guys truly just stepped it up to a whole nother level when they went into the tournament. I mean, whooped the daylights out of Oklahoma when they played them, and then just went up in there, and then they won by 3 against North Carolina for the championship. These guys truly just showed the world that they could get it done and just work together, and like I said, just turned it up to a whole nother level when the lights really came on in the tournament. So just huge shout out to them. They were absolutely amazing in my book.
Yeah, Villanova was my runner-up, kind of tied runner-up with Alabama. The reason I have them as my runner-up is Villanova is kind of always the team that chokes, if you will.
Yeah.
They're usually the 1 or the 2 seed that loses in the second or third round almost every year. And Jay Wright, no pun intended, righted the ship. And, just really was a solid coach of the entire, this is most notably from Ryder Yakino. He was shooting the lights out, Sweet 16 on, especially the Final Four matchup with Oklahoma. Villanova really stepped up, and why I have Alabama tied with them for runner-up is because a lot of people counted Alabama out after they lost to Ole Miss.
Mm-hmm.
And, even Nick Saban said, he's like, I'm counting ourselves out. And they fought for the rest of the season, and then they got into the playoff, dominated Michigan State, which was probably very bittersweet for Darnell.
Yeah.
Dominated them, and then gave one heck of a performance in the final. And, we mentioned that game earlier, so no need to go into that. But in terms of my winner for the best team, I went with the Cleveland Cavaliers. Just a remarkable finals performance. coming back from 3-1, everyone counted them out. I guess that was my overarching theme here, was the counted out teams. But yeah, it was, that'll be a team Cleveland remembers forever. And I think the whole NBA fan community is going to remember that, because that was the one LeBron promised Cleveland. So,
within what feels like a million years, but it was a good story to see. Feel good story. My runner-up was the Broncos. Feel like it was kind of the NFL's version. Not that Denver's had a drought of championships or anything like that, but it seemed like it was a team that was built to win. They were dysfunctional for a lot of the year. Peyton Manning was throwing ducks more than ever. Seemed like he wasn't going to be able to do anything. Quarterback controversy happened in the middle of the year. They were consistently very good on defense, which is the reason why I think they were able to take the time to right the ship and get it all together to go win a Super Bowl. But I do want to give them credit for that year that they had.
Yeah, I think that Broncos team was the definition of a team. They knew the defense was their strength. They played to it. They knew Peyton Manning wasn't exactly reliable. They pulled him for a while. Brock Osweiler stepped. They never decided to count themselves out, which I think was very important for them. And they ended up just piecing it together. And I think that was the actual definition of a team championship. Those Denver Broncos.
Yeah, I can definitely agree with there. Yeah, great picks by everybody. Anything you guys would like to add to one of our picks?
Nah.
Yeah, I think we touched just about every champion out there.
Yeah, so, pretty much.
Beside the Pittsburgh Penguins, but hockey.
I haven't really been covering a lot of hockey, so yeah. But all right then. Appreciate everybody listening. Be out on the lookout for us. We're pretty much on. I think I got them all. If not, I'll just add it to whatever. You can find us on Twitter at DKM_cast. Hit us up. Let us know how we're doing. And that's it. You guys got anything else to add?
See you next week.
Yeah. I think it's going to be fun. We started off, like our first show, we got into college football. It was a little late, but we're going to start to hit college football pretty hard next week, heading up into the season because it's right around the corner. So I think y'all will enjoy our discussions that we're going to be having for college football coming up just throughout the whole year. So be on the lookout for that as well.